Hello everybody. I hope your day started better than mine did. I may have to rob my piggy bank to make up for what happened this morning. I walked out into the garage and it had a flat tire. It's a funny thing, it happens that there's tire damage every time I have to leave my car in the driveway instead of in the garage when I'm firing. And this is getting really old because each time I have to buy a couple of new tires. I'm going to glaze, well, these guys I have already put underglaze on. I used bright aqua on 2 of them, and I used sea mist on this guy, and then I have bright pink on these 2. And so over here, let me move you in this direction. Over here, right around in this area, here we go. I've already got 1 coat of Smoky Merlot on each of these. And I forgot I had this tiger's eye. This is a Mako glaze, and it says it's a variegated brown with pops. It says pops of reddish purple. Well, Smoky Merlot is kind of reddish purple. It's kind of purple, more purple than red. So I'm gonna put a coat, a generous coat of tiger's eye on both of these, and then I'm going to put some more Smoky Merlot on top of that and just see what happens. These are well, they're not both Mako. One is Potter's Choice, but it's Amico and Mako. I suspect that these are very similar companies if they're not the same company. But Mako is pretty compatible. Potter's Choice typically is more, it'll run more easily than Mako. Mako, these like, let me show you the front of this. Mako stoneware glazes don't generally run. Now, I wouldn't say that categorically, but generally they don't run. So you're pretty safe using these, and I used them a lot in classrooms because there's nothing more heartbreaking than to have the kids just spend so much time doing something, making something, and then they put the glaze on, and for whatever reason it'll run and make a big mess on the kill shelf. But not only that, it'll mess up the bottom of their piece. And so let's see. Okay, so I got down to there. I'm going to set that aside and let it be drying while I'm doing this one. And this one, I'm going to do the bottom. I had a crack that was right in that area there, and I bisque fired it, and it seems to have disappeared. I'm not really sure where the crack is anymore. So I'm gonna paint or coat what I can hold on to while that bottom dries, and then I'll set it down and switch. So sometimes I'll get a couple of things that I'm gonna do the same color. I don't have space for big 5-gallon buckets of glaze, although I do have about 4 or 5 of them out there in my studio that I do use sometimes. It's just easier to do this for me because I get more variety. So this one needs to lay down somewhere. This is the second, this will be the second coat of glaze, and I can touch up if there's any places on there that got messed up, I can touch it up. Let's see. Keep a damp sponge nearby to clean up your hands with. And then before you touch it, you need to dry your hands. There. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. That is barely legal to touch right now. So I'm going to, I could set that down and do that. Since it's variegated, if there are imperfections in the the color, it's not going to really matter much. Okay, so I'm going to set that over there. Whoa, I could be doing this. Yeah, if you've been watching my videos, you probably know that I've got a neighbor that plays, he calls himself a musician, but the stuff that comes out of there is like, not just because I can hear it and it's loud and annoying, it's just that there's something about it when you have to use electronic stuff to, well, I guess it kind of covers up the fact that you don't have any talent or skill in playing your instruments, and so you just make a whole lot of loud noise. And I guess that people like that. Some people, there's just no accounting for taste. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. And I don't ever just lay the lid down on the glaze. The reason is, I had a girl in my class one time, and I didn't care if the kids used their headphones, but when I was giving instruction, I asked them to take the headphones off so they could listen to what I was saying, and I usually didn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes to, if I needed to tell them something when they came to my class. But this girl apparently had issues about listening. She didn't listen. So she comes walking up to and I had a glaze station I could have 3 or 4 kids working on glaze at the same time. But there were rules. You had to put the lid back on and screw it on. You had to clean your brush and leave it good for the next person. Well, somebody didn't screw the lid on, and she came walking up there like Miss Priss with her little headphones on and everything, and she took the thing and started shaking it. And I had told them, don't shake the glaze in a jar because it creates air bubbles, and that you don't want that on your glaze. So if you're brushing glaze, don't shake it, stir it. Anyway, she walks up and starts shaking the jar, and it just, a nice $20 jar of glaze just went everywhere. And I was speechless, not just upset. I just couldn't find words. But anyway, I do this for my own protection too. It's just a habit. Put the lid, screw it on. It keeps your stuff from drying out while you're doing something else. And then if you have to walk away from the station and somebody else comes up, then, it just prevents accidents. And actually, it's kind of economical. I mean, there went a $20 jar of stuff. And she just thought it was all okay. Okay, here in this doodah is, and it needs to be stirred up really bad, is iron luster, and that's a Potter's Choice color, and I'm gonna put some iron luster around the top of this. And this has sea mist on it right now, and iron luster will run. It's a Potter's Choice color, and all I need is a little bit. And yeah, I do a lot of cleaning of my brushes and so forth. Let me get this in the picture here. So I'm just gonna put some around here. And I know it will run, so I'm not gonna be careful about making a perfect line of demarcation there. But I'm gonna be generous with it because I do want it to run. I generally get it pretty even so that it makes a, and you can help it along a little bit if you want to. So ta-da. Sometimes if I have a whole lot of mugs or something and that I'm doing that too, I will just dip them in there, but there's not enough in here to dip anything. So here's sea mist with some iron luster around the top. There's three coats of sea mist on there. Sea mist is an opulence color, and I have to mix that myself. Well, you can also get it in moist, already mixed. You can get it in jars or stuff, but I mix it myself because I use quite a bit of it, and I just love it. So I'm putting extra right here on the very rim because it will break over the edge and it'll run on one side or the other, and it doesn't matter to me which. When I'm not doing a video, this probably seems real cumbersome to you, but I get it going pretty fast. I'll have like 3 little banding wheels going at the same time, and like on these I'm going to put clear glaze over these, but you don't need to watch me do that. I have 2 coats of underglaze on them right now, so these are going to get clear. So I'm going to take these and put them over here and bring here and that there, because these are going to get the same treatment as this did. So one more thing before the sun goes down. I am going to clear glaze over these guys. I'm hoping to get that all done tonight. I use this kind and another kind. This is Mako Crystal Clear brushing, and it's glossy and it's clear. So it's got a little bit of color to it so you can see where you've put it. This one I like pretty good. The color that's in it that goes away, it's transparent, so it doesn't have any color, it's clear. But this is green when you paint it on and leave it, and I like this one too. It just depends on what I have available. I've got a big jug of this outside, so I just keep, out in the studio, so I just keep refilling this when I run low. So I'm going to use this up. There's quite a bit of this. So either one you can use on top of underglaze. So these are all done. I think I told you before already. These are all done with 2 coats of underglaze on them. So they're going to all get shiny. Okay, this is what oatmeal glaze does for me. It peels up like a dry riverbed. I'll give you a real good close-up there. It's incredible. I don't care how much I mix it up, you know, trying to get all the lumps out of it and everything. it just does this. I even bought the kind that comes in a pre-mixed, you know, it's a pint. So what I'm gonna do, and this is how I handle this, because I love oatmeal glaze. It's runny, and you can kind of depend on it to move if you put it on top of another glaze. So, and sometimes it comes up with, oh my goodness, it'll have just the most surprising colors to it. So I don't want to lose any of it. I want it all to be there, even if it drops off of it onto the bottom part down here, or even onto the kiln shelf. I just have to be sure that I put it on one of those advancer shelves in case it does drop down onto the shelf. But I'm being real careful here. I'm balanced on a cardboard box. But here's what I'm going to do. This is hairspray. So, and there's one that's in the kiln firing now that I've done this to. But I'm just going to mist it. I don't want to spray it real hard because it'll knock some of those things off. But I will just mist it on there, and I'll see if I can do that without getting the camera lens covered with stuff. Now the reason hairspray is good for that is because it has gum arabic in it. You didn't know you were spraying that on your hair, did you? Well, you are. There's all kinds of things that we use for other things that are really good and fun to use in pottery. So I'm gonna see if I can mist this. I don't know if you'll even be able to see this stuff, but I'm not getting close, and it doesn't matter if you get some on the bottom part. So what I want to do with this, they're blowing right back at me. I'm trying to glue those pieces right where they are. Oh, phooey, I lost one. I'm going to balance that right there and see if I can plaster it down. Okay. All right, some of them have moved a little bit because they're probably absorbing the moisture of the hairspray. But I'm gonna quit moving this around now and just put it in a safe spot where it isn't gonna be moved until it's put into the kiln. And then when this fire is complete, then I'll show you how I think it's a little candle holder I did this to. So I'll show you how it works out. I'm gonna do some stuff real quick here before I lose sunlight in this window. These two mugs have copper float on them and blue mint or sea mist on the inside, and these are the ones with Tiger Eye and Smoky Merlot. And so up around the rim, when you have two colors, sometimes you just need something to blend the two together, and because it's really difficult to get a real smooth separation between the colors. And so this is hard to do and talk at the same time. So I'm going to blend these by putting a third color over the top of that, and I only need to put, well, I'm putting it on pretty thick, but it isn't going to take much just to sort of make those move, make those colors move and sort of mush together. Mush, mush, mush. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. So there's one. And sometimes on these, I could put a little more on the inside because this has those little dots or the little indentions on the inside. And so when the glaze sometimes will run down and accentuate those little spots. I don't know if I can get the light to show those up any at all, but they're in there. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I thought this might be interesting as far as glazing goes. I'm going to do these two mugs exactly the same, and I keep track of how many coats of stuff because I go off and do other things while this is drying. So I've made a little T right here and a T right here. It looks kind of like a cross, and well, exactly like a cross. And I do I and O right up here, I and O. On this mug, I have done one coat of the inside. So I put a little hash mark right there, and I haven't done anything over here. But when I come back and I might do the outside and then leave it and then come back to it after it dries. So because I can't stick with it, because I don't have space, you know, to just do everything all at once, I'll do a few of them insides, do a few of the outsides, and just do things that way until I get through the whole batch. But I have a ceiling fan in here, and sometimes I'll pull in another small fan in order to speed the drying of the glaze. But this is how I keep track of how many coats of whatever it is I have on the pot. So I think that's helpful. Okay. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye-bye.